Drake Maye, Caleb Williams, Jayden Daniels. QBs 1 through 3 in no particular order. But QBs 4 and 5 are J.J. McCarthy and Michael Penix. With the college football playoffs looming, they can move themselves up the rankings. We're going to talk about this and more coming up next.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Locked On family? Welcome back to the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast, your daily podcast covering your favorite draft prospects, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen every single day. Shout out for being our every dayers. I'm your boy Damian Parson, always on the ones and twos. You can find and follow me on X at DP_NFL. I'm a national scout and a senior draft analyst, and I got to kick this intro over to my guy. He is back, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. LSU himself, Keith Sanchez. You can find and follow him on Twitter at The Talent Code. Keith, talk to him, baby.
What's up, Locked On family? This is Keith Sanchez, 2019 national champ with those LSU Tigers, man, here with my guy, Damian Parsons, to bring you championship-level content surrounding the NFL Draft 24/7, 365, man. You're getting a whole lot of champ talk over here, man. We talk everything college football. We talk everything NFL football. And what we like to say is that it all starts with the NFL Draft podcast. But DP, man, today's slate, we are rolling. We are going, man. We are talking draft storylines, right? We're going to talk about QB1, QB2, but who's QB3, 4, 5, right? We have to figure that thing out and get that thing ironed out, right? Because there are more quarterback-needy teams, DP, than there are quarterbacks. So what names are we going to see elevated, right? Then we're going to get into our classic segment, man, Rookie Report, which rookies are balling. And we're going to finish this thing up with an appearance from Coach K, Coach DP. Yes, we hopping in the locker room, and we are passing out game balls. But DP, before we get this thing started, man, why don't you hit them with our title sponsor?
Guys, download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. Keith, QB 1, 2 are our absolute lock. For most of us, QB3 is Jayden Daniels, the Heisman winner, that LSU Bengal Tiger, as you like to say, right? But QB 4 and 5, Keith, I think I think we both will probably say that's Michael Penix Jr, quarterback from the University of Washington, and then J.J. McCarthy, quarterback from the University of Michigan. They both of these guys they have a playoff game coming up next week, Keith, which we'll get into. We'll preview that and the prospects in that. But for the draft storyline, Keith, do either of these guys with big-time performances in the college football playoffs, can either of them realistically leapfrog Jayden Daniels for QB3?
So I'm going to throw another name in there, DP, and another curveball in there, and I'm going to throw Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers, right, who's on the same type of stage and has the same type of platform.
Even
right?
though they say he's not coming out this year?
Well,
you're not fully believing it.
I'm not fully believing it yet, right? Because you have a couple big-time games, and if you walk over as a national champion, Texas hasn't won a national championship since 2005 was that?
5?
I was about to say
Vince Young?
But yeah, that's when they lost to Alabama. But yeah, with Vince Young, right, and that performance. And I mean, what more is there left to do for Quinn Ewers, right? And I think this. So let's have the conversation about it, right? With the unseating of Jayden Daniels as QB3. I think with Michael Penix, and you correct me if I'm wrong, DP. Michael Penix, Jayden Daniels, right? You almost feel like, are they scheme-proof quarterbacks? And I don't think so, right? I think both of those guys have to go to good situations in order to kind of thrive as NFL quarterbacks. So I think right now it's the potential for that, because we know that it only takes one team and one scheme, right? And the weird part about Michael Penix and Jayden Daniels, they're almost like opposite skill sets, right? Like their high-level traits are almost polar opposite. Well, you want Michael Penix to stand in the pocket. Jayden Daniels, you want him to get out the pocket, right? You want him to run around. You want him to use his legs, things like that. And then I would throw Quinn Ewers in there. Like I said, the rumblings are that he's not going to come. But I'm sorry, it's just too much out there, DP, that if he's able to accomplish everything, why come back? What do you have to earn from that? And we've seen in the past, right, with I think that was Matt Barkley, right? When he was supposed to be a top pick, came back. Sam Howell was supposed to be a top pick, came back. Jimmy Clausen. Remember Jimmy Clausen from Notre Dame was supposed to be a top pick, I believe, and he decided to come back. So I'm not ruling out Quinn Ewers for declaring in this draft, and I'm not ruling out Quinn Ewers DP to be QB3.
I like that because, my mindset, I was like, I don't want Quinn to go back, but I was like, man, all the rumblings are strong. I'm like, I had already moved them out of my mind. I was like 2025, but I like that, Keith. And I think for me, Quinn, Michael Penix, and J.J. McCarthy, Quinn Ewers, University of Texas, these three guys, if we're putting them all in 2024, they all three have a strong chance. But Quinn, I think, has the best chance in terms of leapfrogging the Jayden. If he were to go out there for one to knock off Michael Penix, one-on-one, right? They face each other, and I believe in the bowl game last year with Texas, I think won that game. So if you do it back-to-back bowl games, right, back-to-back off seasons, and knock off Michael Penix. Well, let's say then you get to the national championship game, and you got Bama again. You got a hungry, thirsty team that's wants revenge for the L you gave them in their own house earlier this season. So now you go and you knock them off again. Now the wave is hot. It's a tsunami-sized wave of momentum for a quarterback like Quinn Ewers. If you go out there and show you not only can you orchestrate the offense, work the quick game, get the ball out, and be decisive, but you show the arm talent, you show the ability to layer the ball over defenders in the middle of the field. You show the ability to handle pressure, which you know that Nick Saban and that defense are going to try and send as much pressure at you as possible and trust their very, very talented secondary. Yeah, no, you know what I mean? Like, he would absolutely have a case for QB3 if he was to enter this class. I think Michael Penix, Keith, and I hate to say it, but I think he's the odd man out. I don't know if he really has a shot. I don't know if he has a shot, Keith.
I kind of feel opposite. I think he does. I think he has out of those three quarterbacks, the person I give with the least shot, just based solely off of the semifinals rolling into the championship games, because I don't trust their offense. Well, not the ability to put points, but right, just to let him throw the football, would be J.J. McCarthy. I think he has the lowest floor, but he does have the highest ceiling, but he also has the lowest floor of he could just be inactive the whole game, right? He can be the starter and then just be inactive. And we've seen that before with this Michigan offense. So if I had to rank them, DP, I would probably put Quinn Ewers 1 going into these semifinal games, Michael Penix 2, and then J.J. McCarthy 3, with the opportunity, when we're talking about in regards to the opportunity of unseating Jayden Daniels for QB3. Rank yours. I want to hear your rank if you had to rank those three quarterbacks.
I give it Quinn Ewers at 1. You just kind of almost sold me on the whole J.J. McCarthy thing. I'm not gonna lie to you, because it's not his fault. It's not his fault at all, Keith. But like you said, he's the only quarterback that we can even remember that's been active in games, but still inactive. Like, he's starting the game, but the team phases him out to make sure they win. It's weird. It's such a weird situation, which is why I don't even want him to go back to college, unless if he went back, bro, you got to transfer. You can't go back to the same scheme and principles, and that is weird.
You know what it is, DP, and we about to transition real quick. I could easily see this happening, right? Just Jim Harbaugh, and even how he played with the 49ers, right? It was like a lot of ball control stuff. I could see Harbaugh going to the NFL, and whatever NFL team he goes to, he tries to draft J.J. McCarthy. Knows, right, like, this guy can ball control and he can play well. You know what I'm saying? See the same exact thing happening, because that's Harbaugh as a coach, right? Like, he tried to unleash Colin Kaepernick towards the back end, and when he made that Super Bowl run stuff, but for the majority, he was a ball control type of guy, and run game. He's been that way since his time at Stanford, right? That's just always been his pedigree and who he was as a coach. But DP, man, I want to keep this thing going and flowing, man. We have to get into some NFL conversation, right? We talk about those rookies. Rookies make impacts, right? And the rookies come from where? The NFL draft. So, man, we're about to get into this rookie report. Talk about what rookies perform the best this weekend, and bring a different, interesting twist to this conversation.
Guys, have you ever tried buying tickets at the last minute? You shouldn't have to worry when it comes down to purchasing tickets to big events that you want to go to yourself, take your loved one, your spouse, family, friends, whoever. But let me introduce you to Game Time. They're the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. DP, what else do they offer? Tell me about the benefits. I got you guys. Last minute tickets, flash deals, zone deals. Their tickets are easy to find and buy for every kind of event in your area. And this is my favorite part, and it will be yours. They show the views from each and every seat in the venue. So before you purchase your tickets, you know what vantage point you will have. Guys, I'm telling you right now, if you want to see Aaron Donald, Puka Nacua, Matthew Stafford versus the New York Giants this Sunday on New Year's Eve in New York at MetLife Stadium, you can get tickets as cheap as $55 each on the Game Time app. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Rookie report, Keith. I got to go to New England, right? Well, he was a 6th-round pick. Right, he was drafted, I think, after Kayshon Boutte, Demario Douglas. He was the only draftable player that played alongside Malik Willis at the University of Liberty, right? And for him to be a late day 3 pick, and then a game where the Patriots upsetted the Denver Broncos 26-23. Bailey Zappe's leading receiver was Demario Douglas, 5 receptions, 74 yards receiving. And Keith, there was a lot of talk coming out of camp about how he was probably one of the most uncoverable receivers that they had. Now, granted, they don't have a lot of wide receiver help, but the point is, like, even the starting DBs I remember from training camp, they were saying that he was giving the starting DBs some issues. And when him in the slot, the route running, the tempo, just the crisp footwork, everything, the ability to get open, right? That's something we've been trying to call for in New England for some time now. Since they drafted Mac Jones, I wanted to give Demario Douglas his flowers, because I feel like he needs to be, to close out this season, he needs to be their wide receiver 1. I'm talking 8 to 10 targets a game. Get the ball into this kid's hands, because he's making plays for you. And you need somebody that can consistently step up and make plays for you, especially with the way that the offense has always been structured since Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. It's been slot machine as the point. Slot machine as the point. Well, you got a slot receiver now, a real one that can actually work, and be that slot machine. Get you those first downs, stuff like that. Keep the offense ahead of the chains and ahead of schedule. Man, Demario Douglas, almost 80 yards receiving, man. I feel like he got 8 targets. Man, let's bump that up 4 more. Give him 12 a game. Just feed him so you can kind of keep that. I think everything right now is, let's figure out what we have as we close out the season, right? Figure out what we have so that in that case, we're good going forward.
Yeah, I agree 100%, DP. And I want to go to Los Angeles Rams wide receiver Puka Nacua, right? And I think people are looking at it from the conversation of, is this the real thing? So I'm going to ask you real quick, DP, with Puka Nacua as a rookie, do you believe that that's the real thing, right? Because he's breaking all type of rookie records right now. So do you think that it's the real thing?
I think so, Keith. I think 9 receptions, 164 yards receiving, and a touchdown. I 100% think Puka's the real deal. You know what I mean? And at the same time, he's the real deal in an offense that allows him to be the real deal. You know what I mean? So when you think about what he's able to, like what he's doing and the play, like it's one thing to do it when Cooper Kupp's hurt the first 4 games of the season. It's it's entirely a different thing when Cooper Kupp is there and you still bust 164 at the touchdown. You know what I mean? So, especially against a good defense, right? Like the Saints and a good secondary. I think Puka's the real deal, and I think that he's going to be here to stay. Sean McVay is clearly shown, you line up any talented receiver, not just any talented receiver. Oh, I'm going to make sure I'm getting the football.
Yeah, and you flash back to that Saints game, right? And at this point, it felt like it was so long ago because that was a Thursday night football game, right? But, man, and that was probably 3rd, 4th Rams game, right? I was able to really diagnose Puka Nacua, man. And you just see the ability, the and how instinctual he is just to make plays, right? Because some of those catches were contested catches, but he just like you just about just a natural hands catcher, right? That's what Puka Nacua is. And the reason I wanted to ask, was it the real thing, is because you look at the Rams, right, and you already have Cooper Kupp, right? Then, like you said, you add Puka Nacua, and then a healthy Matthew Stafford, right, with this run game from second-year running back, which we covered last week in the rookie report. Then you have a good Rams football team. But we know this, DP, that you start to play tougher teams, right? And we're projecting this guy, and, you know, the Rams making a playoff run, right? You're talking about being in the NFC conference. Man, we talked about rookies making an impact, right? And drafting guys, a fifth-round pick from BYU, and turning out to be one of the better wide receivers in the NFL. So that's why I wanted to get your take on it. You know, just what you see from him, and is it one of those scheme situations, or kind of you ready to hand it over to Puka and be like, you know what, you just a really good wide receiver?
Nah, Puka's he's he's that good, man. I think that we're going to see as this offense continues to evolve, they get more and more pieces, more and more speed. You know what I mean? Because you got Cooper Kupp and Puka. Excuse me. You have Tutu Atwell, but if you can add you know, dear God, like Xavier Legette in the second round, you know what I mean, with Sean McVay calling plays. Yeah, no, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're the Niners, you the Cardinals, excuse me, or the Seattle Seahawks, you don't want to see that. You don't want to see those type of problems, because, like, who do you double? Right? You take away Cooper Kupp? Well, no, because Puka can go off. You take away Puka, Cooper Kupp can go off. You try to double them both. Now you got a big 6'3", 230-pound receiver that plays the X, the Z, and the slot that can go off as well. So, excuse me. I think a big thing for me, Keith, is just watching the way he wins. And it, to me, it's as we've seen, he replicates it every single week. If he gets the targets, he's going to make those plays. But Keith, last week you brought up Kyron Williams, who was kind of, we did an NBA style rookie report, right? Where it was like that first year player who didn't play a whole lot, right? But Ben Simmons, you got rookie of the year the following year. You know what I mean? Even though you in year 2. And I want to do that again this week. Zamir White, right? 5-star recruit, which you know from recruiting. Young man, like, what was his dad named Zeus, or did they call him Zeus?
They called him Zeus. That was his nickname.
Call him Zeus. And Keith, running back for the Las Vegas Raiders, 6 foot, 215, and out of the University of Georgia. And the past 2 weeks, week 15, 17 carries, 69 yards in the touchdown versus the Chargers, right? In that blowout game that got Brandon Staley fired, right? Good riddance. But then against the Kansas City Chiefs, where we didn't know, I think everybody kind of came, no matter how the Chiefs had looked, everybody came into that game like, man, it's Monday night, it's Christmas, Pat Mahomes going to do his thing. The Raiders like, nope, we're the Grinch, and we're taking everything you got. You know what I mean? And Zamir White was a big part of that, Keith. We talking about 22 carries, 145 yards rushing, 6.6 yards per, and a long run to 43, which was, I think that was the run that kind of iced the game late in the fourth quarter. And listen, he didn't play a lot last year. He hasn't played a lot this year because they had Josh Jacobs, right? Well, I don't think Josh Jacobs is going to be there next year. And I think Zamir is making the case that, yeah, I'm 24 years old. I know I got the 2 torn ACLs from back in college, but you should give me the reins of this running game, this offense. And with interim head coach Antonio Pierce leading the way, I think that Zamir White is going to be his type of back, because he wants to play physical, kind of old school football, kind of the way he played when he was in the league, right? When he was with the Giants. Physical, smash mouth, downhill, play action football, things like that. They got to get a quarterback, because Aiden O'Connell is not it. But the point is, I think Zamir White, man, I got to give him his love, bro. I think he's making a very strong case to say, hey, guys, Champ Kelly, Antonio Pierce, why pay Josh Jacobs 12, 13 mil or 10 mil a season? You got me on the rookie deal, baby. Go ahead and run me. Let me go ahead and put the team on my back. So I want to give some love to him, man.
DP, I like that. And listen, I'll just, because I don't think we were doing a podcast at the time, right, for that draft. And I just talk about it, man. I thought Zamir White was a highly talented guy coming out of the draft, DP. I gave him, I think, a 3rd round grade, right? Like he might have been my 5th, 6th ranked running back. So I thought this guy was extremely talented, DP. And now you finally see, you get him some touches. He has the perfect blend of lateral explosiveness, right? Agility. He has burst. He has good vision. He has good contact balance. He has everything you want in a running back. So I honestly, DP, I feel the same exact way, that this is a player that if a team gives him the carries, I think you can consistently expect those 100+ yard games from him because he has the total skill set to get the job done. But DP, it's time to get this thing going, man. We're about to have an appearance, man, from Coach K, Coach DP. But I'm gonna say this. I'm about to add a little twist on this one, right? We talked about the coach situation. I'm about to add a little twist on this situation. So y'all make sure y'all stay tuned because next up is our game ball segment.
Today's episode of Locked On NFL Draft has been brought to you by Prize Picks. They are the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. With basketball season here, you can now pick combo projections across football and basketball from the Specials League, a league created specifically for combo projections, including 2 or more players from different sports or leagues. For example, LeBron James plus George Kittle and a 12.5-point combo of 3-pointers made plus receptions. Do you want to play alongside some of Prize Picks' favorite players like rapper Meek Mill and comedian Andrew Schultz? You can now find community plays under the promos tab of the app to view entries from some of the biggest names in the Prize Picks community each and every week. This weekend in the NFL on Prize Picks, I am taking Jared Goff for over 261.5 passing yards versus the Dallas Cowboys. So, guys, all you need to do is very simple. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use the code LockedOnNFL for a first deposit match up to $100. All right, Coach K. It's time to give out the game ball. You said you got a little twist here. What twist you trying to apply to the game ball segment?
Well, DP, what happens is, right, the game ball, we say, hey, we walk in the locker room as the coaches, right? And we reenact the coaches, right? And who they're going to ball to. So what I'm going to do is this, right? I'm going to go into the locker room and I'm going to go into that Chiefs-Raiders locker room, right? The Raiders just won the game, right? And, Antonio Pierce is standing right there. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to walk in there as the general manager or the owner, and I'm going to tap Antonio Pierce on the shoulder. I say, my brother, I'm going to give you the game ball this time, right? That's how you motivate a team. That's how a team is supposed to come out swinging. So it's not a Coach K appearance, DP. This is a owner/GM appearance from Coach K, right? And I want to just give him his credit, man, because listen, this is a team that was, can we use the phrase, right, left for dead, right? When you're talking about the Las Vegas Raiders, when we're talking about locker room issues, we're talking about your best players being, having issues. You're talking about injuries, right? You're talking about trading away Derek Carr, and then that backfiring, but then it don't really backfire because Derek Carr don't look that good either. But just all of those things going on where people aren't playing for each other, and then you're talking about millionaires making millions of money. They could have easily just kind of packed it in and said, you know what, I'm gonna cut my check. I'm gonna show up for work on Sundays, and whatever the result is, my check is going to clear, right? But he got these guys. He's talking about grown men, DP, 25, 27, 30, 33, right? These men to be motivated to say that, hey, you know what? I don't know if we're going to make it to the playoffs, but you know what we're going to do? Everybody's going to doggone respect us, right? And I really appreciate that. So I want to go in as the owner and GM and hand that game ball to Antonio Pierce and say, hey, that's a signature win right there.
Not only are you because Keith, I know you not only handed him the game ball, you handed him a contract, letting him know he's not the interim head coach no more. He's a full-time head coach, letting them know you are the coach of this team going forward. I know you, so I know they just game ball.
You took my thought right out of my mind, right? That's I walk in there with the contract, right? You know what I just did? I just printed it out and I said, man, call your agent. We about to get this thing signed, sealed, delivered right now, DP. But yeah, but that's definitely, man. Like you give them the job and you let it figure it out because the Raiders, right? Y'all made that mistake already with Rich Bisaccia, and then y'all wanted to go chase the big names, and then guess what happened? It backfired, right? I always say this, man. The qualifications of being a head coach is not the same qualifications of being a coordinator, right? There's different qualifications. Every good coordinator, and just because you're an offensive guru or defensive genius doesn't mean you're going to be able to sit there and motivate men. It's two different job qualifications and two standards for what it takes to be a coordinator and a head coach.
Without question, Keith. For me, I got to go to Monday night, and I got to go to the Baltimore Ravens, second year safety, and he's kind of entering that elite tier now, Keith. Yes, Kyle Hamilton, man. Kyle Hamilton.
DP had me nervous. He had me nervous at first because he was one of the highest graded players that I ever evaluated. And, that first, 5 weeks, and everybody's, oh, man, he can't do this, can't do that. But now I'm going to let you go ahead. I just had to get that out, DP, that he had me a little nervous at first.
No, I think he had us both nervous, Keith. I think people, we saw the 40 and we was like, 4 or 5 ain't bad. Like, what do we do? Like, you know what I mean? What are we losing our minds about, right? You got people taking back takes and, oh no, I don't think he's fast enough to play on the roof and all. I'm like, first of all, he was weaving during his 40-yard dash. Guys, you're not going to catch this man weaving, running full speed on the field. Like, it's just not what it is. So, but watching how he's evolved, it just became that chess piece for, well, last year was Wink Martindale. This year is Mike McDonald.
Yep.
And for him to have five tackles and to walk away from this game with 2 interceptions, and the highlight interception wasn't just a normal interception. He blitzed, got, basic kind of, it was a penalty on Chris McCaffrey because he got high load. Offensive lineman fell on his back, right? So I thought Kyle Hamilton was hurt. Then he gets up, realizes the play is still going on. He identifies where Brock Purdy's going, gets up, runs to the middle of the field, tracks the ball, and makes the play after Marlon Humphrey creates the PBU and the tip pass. So, man, just watching him, he blitzes, he plays in the slot, he plays on the roof still. No matter what questions you have about his speed, he still plays as a high safety, but he'll play, like I said, as another defender in the run game. He does so many things. He's a Swiss Army knife. He's a jack of all trades, but I feel like he's mastered them all at this point, whether it's coverage. There's I think it was the matchup against the Bengals. I think it may have been the second matchup when Joe Burrow went out. Mm-hmm. There was, I think it was that game. I remember watching the tape. They had him matched up with Jamar Chase in the slot. And he had some lockdown reps against one of the best receivers in the entire league. So for me, man, I got to give Kyle Hamilton his love. He gets the game ball. Talk about making the whole defense. First of all, the whole defense is going to take part of this game ball because they stifled that 49ers offense, right? And when they stopped giving up wide open lanes or wide open throwing target windows in the middle of the field, and they started locking things down, you saw that physicality take over. And again, just to get they had 5 total takeaways in that game, and 2 of them came from Kyle Hamilton. So Kyle Hamilton gets it first, but I got to throw another ball over there to the full defense because all those boys played well.
Oh, yeah, they played lights out, man. And like you said, DP, the most elite thing about that game, when they played the 49ers was the effort, right? The hustle play. It's so easy just be like, all right, this play is over, man. But this guy gets up and then still busts his butt for another 20, 30 yards just to get in position to have an opportunity to make a play. And that's what ball hawks are, right? The people understand that, like, okay, you're always around the football. Well, you're always around the football because you give max effort, right? You're always running to the football. So, DP, I really like, this might be one of my favorite game ball segments, right? The 2 people we gave them to Antonio Pierce and then gave them to Kyle Hamilton, man. I think that was 2 really good people just in, we're talking about just inspiring people, just to, the grit, the grind, to keep working hard and things like that. But DP, you know what happens over here, right, man? We're grinding over here, man, over at the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast, man. That wraps up another show. And if that wraps up another show, man, I want to end this show by saying thank you to our everydayers. Shout out to our everydayers. Thank you for tapping in with us each and every single day, man. As we are into draft season, we are getting this thing rolling, getting it flowing, man. You can find me, Keith Sanchez, on X at The Talent Code, man. You can find my co-host, Damian Parson. You can find him at DP_NFL. And what we like to say over here is, man, y'all come talk to us because we like to talk back.
Listen, guys, go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Get the latest episode as soon as it is available. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout out for me and our everydayers. Listen, on the rest of this week, guys, we are getting into the college football playoff games on was it Monday, New Year's Day? All right, Bama versus Michigan, Texas versus Washington. Guys, we're going to get into the prospects you need to know, matchups between prospects and everything. And we might just pick those games as well. So we will get into all of that the rest of this week. So come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.